Yeah, it does make me laugh when a headline states the completely bloody obvious, and doesn't get more obvious than this one. Culture Minister suggests TV licence losing support among public. Really? You surprised me. You surprised me there, Julia Lopez. Culture Minister. I would imagine that support among public for the TV licence is at an all-time low. It's probably at the lowest it's ever been at the moment, I would imagine. A lot's changing in the world of TV licensing. A lot more people are in a debate with it. And people have had enough. People have properly had enough. They're paying 159 quid a year, and many struggling families as well having to pay 159 quid a year to the BBC for the right to watch ITV, Channel 4 live, not just BBC. People are cottoning on that that's absolute nonsense. And they're also seeing what an absolute mess the BBC is in with everything it does, from news to local radio to football presenters. Everything's a complete mess. They can't manage the money. They don't know what they're doing. They don't care about making programming for you and your 159 quid a year. So yeah, I would imagine public support is at an all-time low for the TV licence fee. And things like that make me laugh, because it's about blimmin' time too, isn't it? Conservative frontbencher Julia Lopez also noted that the corporation's impartiality is important in relation to the future of the licence fee. I just don't get how they can keep pushing for impartiality. Yes, the corporation can have an impartial stance, of course it can. But the people saying the words, you can't make somebody be impartial. You can make them hide their true thoughts and feelings on a subject, a bit, but you can't stop that coming out. If someone is really biased in their head in one direction and they're working on a project, they can skew it. Impartiality is impossible to police. It's impossible to police, because you can't control the thoughts in people's heads, although you probably do try to, government and the BBC. Not go down that route, shall we? So MP Sam Wilson of East Antrim told the House of Commons, the only disaster this weekend has been for the BBC and the despicable way it handled the Gary Lineker affair and then caved into this man and his friends who rallied around him. I think the problem is he had them by the knackers, didn't he? Because Lineker wouldn't have said it if he didn't know he could say it. And his manager has said he's allowed to have said these things. He found a loophole in his contract. And whilst Tim David, the boss, wanted to stamp down on this, he had to back off. He had no choice, or he was going to get a huge legal case. He had no choice. And it just goes to show the mess of the BBC. You can't have one contract for one and one contract for the other. So you either let people say what they want on their own personal social media, or you lock it down completely, and anybody who says anything out of line's gone straight away. But can you do that? It's their own personal social media, and if they're doing it in their own personal time, is that policeable? It's not. You can't force people to be impartial. You can't force people to not have their own opinions. They're always going to come out. They're always going to come out. He added, the BBC has shown once again it's impossible, because of the bias inherent in it, to be impartial, and it's now time that people are no longer forced to finance the BBC through the licence fee. Especially when every week 1,000 people are taken to court by the BBC, 70% of them women, for refusing to pay this poll tax on the propaganda. It's an interesting number, that, and BBC like to use that to scare people. They put it in the letters that we take this amount of people to court every week and the maximum fine is £1,000. And if you're new to all this, if you cancel because of Gary Lineker situation, or you've finally turned around to the BBC, but you are scared of that number, remember, if you don't watch or record anything that's been broadcast or use iPlayer, you legally do not have to pay for the TV licence fee. I haven't had one going on 10 years, and many of my viewers are a lot longer than that. So don't worry about that. And, you know, these prosecutions, all 1,000 a week that he claims there, can only come by one way. And that's by talking to one of the goons when they knock on your door. There's no other way. Detection equipment's a complete myth, never existed, it was just a threat. In the history of TV licence prosecutions, not one has ever come about from evidence given by a TV licence detector van or person or equipment. Doesn't exist. So when they'll knock on your door, right? And I think that's partly the reason why it's disproportionately women, 70% of them women. Because they'll come round, they'll knock on the door and they'll chat to you. They want to chat because they know the more they keep you talking, the more trouble you get to. And they call themselves enforcement officers and they dress official. and they say, oh, we're going to interview you under caution. It's all nonsense. They're door-to-door salespeople. So you're perfectly within your rights to open the door and you go, hello, who are you? I'm from TV licensing, and they'll start gassing and go, no, you're all right, thank you. Bye. Close the door. Done. No trouble can come to you if you do that. So if you're new to this, that's all you got to do. Shut the door. Perfectly within your rights to do so. They're not police, they're not bailiffs, they're door-to-door salesmen. It says so on the TV licensing website itself. Oh, yeah, it says Culture Minister suggests TV licence lose support among public. I think it's at its all-time lowest. I mean, I run TV Licence Stop, as you know, and the Chili John Carney channel. And I get a lot of emails every day from people wanting to talk about the TV licence or get advice about the TV licence. And yeah, I can tell you from the amount of emails I've got from newer people to this fight who just want to know about cancelling, yeah, support among public, all-time low. So what do you think about this then? Do let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Because that way, hopefully I'll see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da!